The other day, someone in my Discord asked me, "Why are you so anti RMT?" So I said something along the lines of, "It ruins the game, it gives players an unfair advantage, blah blah blah." Then he said, "Time is time, you should be able to use the time you spend working in real life to buy items in Path of Exile." Okay. This conversation opened my eyes to the fact that there are probably dozens, if not hundreds of people that watch my channel that also happen to think RMT is a totally fine thing to do. So let's talk about it. RMT is short for real money trading, which is the act of exchanging real world money for in-game currency, items, or services. On the surface, there are two huge drawbacks to engaging with RMT. 1. It's against Path of Exile's terms of use, so you're risking your account by breaking those rules. 2. It's frowned upon by the majority of the game's community, so if your fellow gamers find out, there's a high chance they will be far less impressed by your in-game accomplishments. For someone like me, those reasons are already more than enough to not even consider RMT. But what if you're willing to take the risk, don't care what your friends think, or just keep the whole thing a secret? Then RMT just becomes a harmless business transaction, right? Wrong. What many RMTers don't understand is that there are far-reaching negative implications of buying currency. In this video, I plan on revealing said implications, discussing them at length, and then hopefully changing some minds of any would-be RMTers who are watching. The first point I want to make is about the overarching damage RMTers can do to the game. I know most people buying currency probably only care about what they have to personally gain from a transaction like this, but I figured I'd lay down the facts anyway. The major message here is that the currency RMT websites sell has to come from somewhere. Sometimes this comes in the form of pathetic scams such as the 5 to 6 link or divination card swaps, and other times it consists of simple price fixing. However, more often than not, we're looking at bot farms. Do you ever find yourself just casually hanging out in the Sarin encampment after saving Clarissa, then notice literally dozens of the same class stutter stepping back and forth across town? If so, then it's very likely you've just witnessed the beginnings of a bot farm, and that those characters are well on their way to the promised land of infinite blood aqueduct farming. Even more obvious are the currency trading bots that respond and load up the trade window faster than any human you'll ever interact with. They may seem helpful on the surface in a world of unresponsive currency traders, but I promise you, the sheer volume of flips they can do day in and day out gives them a massively unfair advantage over any normal player. The good news is that GGG is usually pretty good about doing ban waves as often as possible, but these bots still make a significant impact on the economy. In fact, one of the many reasons why exalts fluctuate in price is that bots do the chaos recipe and scrounge for smaller currencies all day, decreasing the value of said smaller currencies, which in turn causes exalts to trade for more and more chaos. So here's the big picture. RMTers want to buy currency. Currency selling websites use bots to meet this demand. Bots decrease the value of the currency they farm, GGG does a ban wave, and then the prices of rarer currencies take a nosedive. Obviously, savvy players will be able to take advantage of this by flipping currencies accordingly, but that's not what this video is about. The point is, just because some lazy or misguided RMTer wanted to buy Chaos Orbs from their favorite YouTuber, the whole economy got unnecessarily shifted around. Poor players had to deal with their chaos being worth less, rich players had to stress about when to sell their exalts, and GGG had to devote valuable development time to stamping out bots. The only parties that gained anything positive from this instance of RMT were the currency selling websites and the RMTers themselves. However, what if I told you even this statement isn't entirely true? Really quick, let's take a few steps back. I mentioned earlier that talking about the overarching problems caused by RMT would likely go ignored by those already buying currency because there is a good chance they are doing so purely for personal gain anyway. But what exactly is this personal gain? My Discord for this YouTube channel consists of roughly 1,300 users, and one of my strictest rules is not to engage with RMT. If I'm presented with proof that someone has RMT'd after joining the server, they will be banned pretty much instantly. While this may seem a bit ridiculous, it has afforded me the opportunity to speak with a handful of confirmed RMTers and suspicious individuals while hearing their various pleas of innocence or admissions of guilt. Thanks to these conversations, I've been able to glean some insights as to why exactly people feel the need to buy currency. 1. They think they need it. This may seem ridiculous, but I once spoke with a guy who bought an entire shaped Headhunter Eternity Shroud Winter Orb setup, we're talking hundreds of exalts, because he legitimately thought he needed it to do endgame content and had no clue how to farm the necessary currency himself. 2. They make enough money in real life to buy items in-game that would take them far longer to grind out legitimately. This one almost makes sense, but I'll come back to it. 3. They don't understand the game and think making currency is far harder than it actually is. In short, I see the vast majority of RMTers in only one way, as horribly misguided and confused players. There are very few goals you can't achieve in this game with an ultra low budget league starter, and making currency is easier than it's ever been thanks to low tier monolith farming. As for the players who think they're saving time by buying their way deeper into the endgame, well, I have news for you. Path of Exile is a game about killing monsters. These monsters drop items, then you can use said items to kill more monsters. If you play the game enough, you'll be able to get better items that will let you kill even more monsters. But guess what? Whether you've put 10 hours into a league or 1,000, you'll still be killing monsters to get items. I admit, there is a difference between playing a build that's worth 100 exalts versus 100 chaos, but those differences are largely subjective. Some of my favorite builds in the game, like Essence Drain Contagion, work perfectly fine with just a tabula and some rares. So at the end of the day, the gameplay loop is exactly the fucking same. And therein lies the true irony of buying currency. When you RMT, you're paying someone else to play the game for you. And in a game like Path of Exile, you aren't just paying to skip the quote-unquote boring parts. You are quite literally robbing yourself of supposedly fun gameplay. What if you went out to eat at a nice restaurant, but instead of enjoying a full course meal like everyone else, you paid extra for some random dude to eat your appetizer and entree for you? Sure, dessert may be your favorite course, but was it really worth it? Not only are your friends still enjoying their artichoke dip and steak while you're getting ready to leave, but there's no way you'll end up as satisfied as the rest of them. I get it. Path of Exile is complicated and time-consuming. The game is designed not only to reward you for the time you invest playing it, but also for the time you spend learning about it. But the truth is, both of these things are so integral to PoE's overall value that if you feel the need to pay to skip them, this might not be the game for you. I'm not trying to be rude or elitist, I just think RMTers are scamming themselves out of an amazingly fun and satisfying experience. And to those of you who couldn't give two fucks about anything I've said and just want their dessert as soon as possible, by all means, keep paying extra to skip your meals. You'll get bored and have to find a new restaurant long before the rest of us even finish our aperitif. Thanks for watching, this has been Nathan, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you!
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just wanted to thank my awesome Patreon supporters, Real Human, Pete, Zikarak, Squally, Zoljan, Coda, Julia, Allen, Kepler, Fusk, Putzak, Aura or Ori, Heiser, 801, Olivier, Icedude, Ginzink, and Anonymous. Thank you guys so much. You're making what I do possible. It's starting to become quite the mouthful to say all of these names, which is awesome, honestly. So thank you so much. I really means a lot. And I wanted to apologize. I'm sorry this video is like a day late and like a week and a day late if you guys didn't see my other video on my other channel. But yeah, thank you so much. And I'll see you next week.